Hello and welcome to West Ham Reunited. Jazz has had a night off and I've got a substitute, but I think he's better than Jazz anyway. We won't tell him. I have got Chris from Leicester Till I Die. How you doing, Chris? You good, mate?
I'm all right. How could I not live up to that introduction?
It's obviously we message every now and again on Twitter and
Yeah,
stuff like that. But obviously I returned the favour and went on your show last week, so it's like returning the
you
favour,
did.
isn't it?
Yeah. Well, always happy to help out, and it's strange because it's amazing how clubs develop either bonds or rivalries.
Yeah,
And until the season that we're going to be talking about, we never had really much of a rivalry with either Tottenham or Arsenal.
yeah.
Now, because we beat Tottenham and they were our main contenders, and especially with Arsenal because they beat us twice that season, there's that bit of a rivalry there. But I always think with West Ham that I liked you as a team.
Yeah.
I never particularly wasn't enamoured with your owners, but then again, I probably fall in with sort of 90% of West Ham fans on that point.
I think you just gave me about 12 likes, Chris, already.
But the way that your owners and you as a club were, because we played you on that day when unfortunately our chairman
Of course,
passed
yeah.
away, and you were great, and your owners, all hats off to them. I mean, it was as sad as it was amazing how the football world came together and supported us. So thanks for myself, and it's I know always thanks to West Ham for how you were that day, and following on from that, you were great. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Steve, me and Jazz will probably be doing a show after this one, but yeah, I know FIFA and UEFA are so corrupt. The
Yeah.
banning is a disgrace. Yeah, considering what the others are like. I know, Steve, you're working hard. I think we're like 8 away from 400 subscribers, which is amazing considering we've only been going 2 months. So,
That is
and
amazing. Yeah.
and Steve is saying evening as well. So, Chris, obviously,
Yes, Steve.
I come to you a couple of weeks ago with this idea, and
Mm.
I'm not going to lie. You've seen a couple of the comments saying from certain lists, how dare you compare us to our side? But I think it's very similar, Chris. Obviously before you won the title, but I'll let you explain what an adventure you went on that season first, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, I mean, you know what some fans are like. There's every club has them. I know where you're coming from with this because the season you're having is very similar to the season we had when we won it. I think what made it so amazing for us was that we'd never been that good in modern history.
Of course.
And you have had the good years, with the Bobby Moores and what have you, but also the fact that the season before, it's like you having won it last season, having the season before been down near the bottom.
Mm.
We were bottom longer than any team that actually survived in Premier League history.
And West Ham sort of started it because you beat us. What was it? 6 games to go when Cambiasso scored. That was sort of your start of your great escape because I was there. I was there on
Indeed.
that game.
Indeed. I mean, I still pinch myself at some of the memories, and like you say, when you're saying the name Cambiasso and put it in conjunction with Leicester City,
Yeah, I know.
it's like he played for us, but it was just the fact that because I lived down sort of just outside Bournemouth, and they'd just got promoted that season, and where they'd been 10 seasons before, which was collecting money outside the pavilion
Yeah.
and minus 17 points to get to the Premier League, was an amazing story. But the fact that we'd been so bad the season before and come back and won it with a new manager that everybody laughed at when we appointed him. And quite right, I saw where a lot of people were coming from, but for me, I was sad to see Pearson go. He had to.
He don't get he don't get the credit he deserved for what he done, does
No,
he?
no. We would not have. The funny thing is, we would not have won the league had Pearson still been there. I
Of
don't
course.
honestly think that, but we would not have won the league without what Nigel Pearson had done, You know,
Of
it's
course.
like he built the house and Claudio went in and painted it,
Of course, yeah.
if you like.
Sorry to interrupt you. We've got Simon. He's a very good friend of the channel. He's a Chelsea fan, but look what he's put in. I've had to put it in. You can't say that. You can't say that,
Simon,
Sam.
FA Cup, mate. FA Cup.
Oh dear.
That's all I'll say. I'm not saying any more. FA Cup. Wouldn't it nice seeing Chilwell celebrate your equaliser? Yes. But no, I mean, going back to that season, I'm joking, Simon. You might not be that far off, actually. No, going back to it was, everybody sort of said, I mean, Nigel he went because of what his son had done in Thailand before, and it was all about feeling, and he had a bit of a fiery reputation, but Claudio came in, and I can remember at the time, because at the time I wrote for Metro online,
Yeah.
and I wrote a bit, and I've still got the link because nobody ever believes me, but I said this is a good signing. It wouldn't have been necessarily a good signing for Man United or a good signing for Arsenal, but everyone said, well, he's never won anything, and look what he was doing at Greece, etc., etc. Well, forget Greece, because that's a national job and that's completely different kettle of fish. How many managers have we seen fail at be brilliant managers but not do it for England?
Yeah.
But he'd won cups, he'd won promotions, he'd got teams to second, third in the league. He only failed out missing the Premier League before because of the Arsenal Invincibles. And I said, if he got Leicester to second or third in the league and won us the odd cup, he's going to be a good signing for us. Never expecting, obviously, to go on and do what he did.
Of course. Yeah, no, definitely.
It was the most surreal season that, as a Leicester fan, I've ever known. We've never won anything significant. We'd had a couple of good years under Martin O'Neill, but we were a yo-yo. We'd won the second tier title, equal top with Man City, which obviously also means we've been relegated that many times.
Course.
So yeah, it was completely. It was the ultimate dream, as they say.
Yeah, and obviously, Claudio come in and brought some signings in. What did you make of the signings he brought in? Obviously, before they played, was you a bit?
Well, it's difficult to see who was a Claudio signing and who was a Pearson signing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because you look, and most of them were probably actually Pearson signings, if you like, because the names that you're going to we're going to talk about, most of them were there. Morris had already been there. He'd got us up. Kante had come in, but Kante had signed before Nigel Pearson was actually sacked. So it was one of those sort of.
Yeah.
And when you look at who Claudio brought in after he won the title, I'm glad he didn't bring that many players in.
Of course, yeah.
Because he didn't make the best signings for us. But, the big one, of course, is Kante coming in for that season. And he was on another planet.
Yeah, no, and he still is now to this day.
Exactly, yeah.
He was brilliant. Luke's in the chat as well. Young Jake as well. Look, young Jake's in. Chris.
Jake, how the devil are you, sir?
And Luke saying Steve Walsh was he a defender or a striker that was proper at Leicester?
I speak to Steve a lot. Because I do a lot with the ex-players, and he'll tell you he's a striker, but he was primarily a defender. Most red cards in top flight history, by the way, Steve Walsh kind of sums him up. But he was also an amazing emergency striker. he actually, he got. A couple of goals that got us promoted in the playoff games. He was, if you cut him, and he wasn't a Leicester lad, but if you cut him through, he bled Leicester. Amazing guy who nearly knocked Ian Wright out after the end of the of an Arsenal game one
No,
season.
and Simon, I'm glad you won. You won the FA. To be honest, that's nice saying from a Chelsea
Yeah,
fan.
his next line will be because we went on to win the Champions League.
I know.
Yeah.
So, Chris, like I said briefly, we sort of compare the first team. I've picked a couple of reserve players, which I'm regretting now thinking about it, of the level what we've got compared to what you have. But obviously, we're going to start um, with the goalkeepers. Obviously, Casper. I've been a huge fan of him. Obviously, he stayed with you. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was in League One, wasn't he? He was with you with League One as well, or not?
No, he came to us in the Championship, I think it was.
Yeah,
I could be wrong on that. I'm old and my memory's going, but we got him from Leeds for $1 million, and he actually didn't want to come to Leicester. He was actually very happy at Leeds, and Sven. No, in fact, no. He came to us in the Championship because Sven bought him, and he was one of Sven-Goran Eriksson's signings.
Super Sven.
Super Sven. And I tell you what, he was the loveliest guy you could ever meet. He really was.
Yeah.
He had so much time for the fans. It's untrue. But yes, Michael came. He stuck with us. You know, he had chances to move. He was always linked, and obviously he was always linked with Man United because of his dad. He had an amazing bond, and we spoke just before we went live about the helicopter crash after our game that season. And if the stewards hadn't been about, he'd have been diving in the flames, because the relationship he had with Vichai and Top and their family was amazing. Absolutely amazing. He is. Yeah, we could sit here and I could pick fault with him, with his kicks out and what have you. He now plays out from the back, but he's told to do that. I wouldn't have any other keeper, to be honest with you. You know, we've had some amazing keepers at Leicester. We've had Gordon Banks, we've had Peter Shilton, but that guy, is a good penalty stopper. Steve Claridge, you're going back a bit there, Luke. But Steve Claridge and his famous shin. Casper, amazing goalkeeper. Goalkeepers go on for years these days. So
definitely.
I Cyber, but amazing. What £1 million?
Yeah. See, I sort of agree with Luke here, Chris. Most reliable Premier League goal in the last decade. Well, I think there was one point. I think it was the actual year before you went on to win the title, because you were favourites to go down, and that's the player, the goalkeeper we were most likely to sign. I am a huge fan, but just how key was he in that season? I'm guessing he obviously was, because of his obviously he went on to win the title. But just how good was he that season, Casper?
Unreal. I mean, he's a good penalty stopper. I mean, look at him. For his passion. He's captain, and anything I don't like about that is the fact that I don't like captains that are goalkeepers, because I soon have a captain as an outfield player. But when you look at his passion, how he handled the helicopter incident, how he handled the Eriksson incident in the Euros. He's kept numerous clean sheets for Denmark. He's just gone mad because they let one in against Faroe, and his he had a string of clean sheets. Yes, he has his fault, but a goalkeeper to some degree is only as good as the defence that's in front of him.
Of course.
You cannot say that. You could have the best goalkeeper in the world, but he can't stop everything that's coming at him if the defence in front of you is rubbish. David De Gea, what I mean?
Yeah. No. Obviously, we're sort of going to talk. I've picked this 11, but when you beat us, I think it was the second? Yeah, I think it was the third or fourth game of the season when you beat us at Upton Park.
I can tell you because I have it here. It was in fact 1, 2. Second game. It was the second
Oh
game.
yeah, we played
Yes.
Bournemouth. We played Bournemouth. I always get them two mixed up because we lost our
Yeah.
first two home games of that season. I remember Vardy and Mahrez completely destroyed us that game. It was ridiculous, and
Something clicked that season, and I can only put that down to Claudio, that he brought that bit of Italian flair along,
yeah,
and he didn't do much. That was the thing. He just tweaked things here and there. And yes, he had Kanté in there, but Mahrez had already been there. I mean, I can remember, and this is typical of me. This was the season that I gave up my season ticket.
yeah,
Because I'd travel. It was a 7.5, 8 hour return journey from where I lived to Leicester. And that said, I'd got a ticket. A friend who worked for the club at the time got me a ticket to the first game, and we beat Sunderland 4-2. And I noted then a couple of players that were going to be outstanding for us, and one of them actually scored against you in the next game, but. Typical that I had the season ticket and I travelled every game the season before to see us lose, and that was the season I couldn't afford it and the travelling and whatever. Yeah, I said, I'm not going to get rid of my season ticket. I can't go through another season like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I said, so with regards to Fabianski, don't get me wrong, he made a few mistakes the last couple of years, but what goalkeeper doesn't? But obviously he's on the decline, and
didn't you like to get sent off a bit? Is that Fabianski?
No, that was Adrian who got sent off against you. I can't remember who he kicked in the head though. I can't remember who he did. He literally flipping fly kicked him, didn't he? But no, Fabianski he's on in my opinion, our best goalkeeper will be our number one next year because we've got the obligation to buy from PSG, which is the ex-Fulham goalkeeper Areola. But to be honest, the last 3 or 4 games, he's not really put a foot wrong. He is on the decline. Obviously, he's got a bit of a dodgy hip, so he's not the way he will. But we're sort of going to do a marker, and to be honest, you're going to outnumber us on a lot of them. And I agree with this one, and it's 1-0 to you for the goalkeeper. I don't think there's any argument on that. To be perfectly honest, and
I'm going to struggle not to be happy with any of the players.
No, of course,
winning it. But Schmeichel, love the guy. I'd have his babies.
So we move on to the better half of the team, which is right back. So Danny Simpson, did he surprise you how good he was this season, Chris?
Well, this was the thing, if you could say that about all sort of 13 odd players that we're going to be looking at. Yes, he surprised us. Somebody said before it was such a ragtag of a team. There's a guy that had come away from Man United, and we'd got free signing in Mark Albrighton, and there were. He'd never really sort of stood out before this season, but then again, like I say, you can say that about so many of the players. He got sent off towards the end of the season, which was a bit unfortunate. But and we, one of those you could argue, it was 2 yellows. But he surprised me. But again, he had a reliable season.
Yeah, no, definitely. I remember him fully. Like you said, he had a few loan spells, didn't he, from Man United before he come to you, and he was, he was a character. He was a character, but like you said, I think
he had a history off the pitch. I think you could.
Yeah, I think that's what he's probably well known for, to be perfectly honest.
Yes.
And that
did you that? Believe it or
not. But did you banter him because of it as well as a home team?
Not really, no. I don't think we could banter anybody that season. I mean, we lost, and it's still amazing when I say it's so many things I've got to pinch myself off.
Yeah,
is we only lost 3 games that season.
It's mad. It is mad.
And even at the start, and I joke now that Brendan Rodgers needs to probably buy our team a 3-course roast meal for him just to keep a clean sheet. And then that season it was Claudio buying a pizza. But that's how bad it was. But we were still winning. And, whether you win 1-0 or 3-2, it doesn't matter. As long as you win, you forget any mistakes at the back, And yeah, he had a bit of a reputation. He liked his cars, and he liked his women, and but he did what he needed to do. He was reliable.
Yeah, how good was he going forward though, Chris? Was he good going forward and defensively, or was he more of an attacking sort of right back? If that's what.
Yeah, no, he did his fair share of going forward, and
Because I can imagine with Mahrez probably really didn't track back as much as because he still don't really do that for City, does he? To be
not
fair,
his favourite, thing to do. And I think when you look at Danny Simpson, he got the experience because he had been around. I think he was at QPR as well for a bit, and he had that. He knew when to go forward. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate, definitely. Like you said, your knowledge is not great, but do you know this man, Soufal? Have you seen much of him?
I did when we did the program the other day.
Yeah.
I think you were trying to get him into the team. Well, in fact, he got into the team, didn't he?
No, we got what's his chops? The Southampton right back, didn't we?
Oh, did we in the end? Your memory is better than mine.
Yeah, no, I did. To be honest,
Yeah.
he's not played in the last three games, to be fair, but he is known as the first. Obviously, last season I won't mention it too much. Obviously, the game at the King Power last year, and that was actually his debut. He come up obviously against Harvey Barnes on his day, and we was like, "Who's this guy?" Because we had no right backs at the time, and that was when he sort of established himself as a West Ham player. And to be honest, I think he's up there with one of the best defensively. I think he is up there. He's been a bit off the pace because he got assaulted by Matic when we beat him in the Carabao Cup, and nothing got done. He's had a rib injury since then, so he's not really featured. He's played a couple of times, but this is a tough one because obviously you went on to, well, if you're sort of going on ability, you probably put Soufal, but obviously he's not really. It's so hard. It's so hard to compare.
Well, I mean,
Do you know
with Simpson, if you had to split the Leicester team into, grade 1 and grade 2s, because one's been the outstanding one, like Casper would be a grade 1, Danny Simpson would probably have to be in the grade 2. As good as obviously he was because we won the league, but we tried to compare players that have played 38 games and won the league to players that have played 11 games this season.
Yeah, no, of course. And Luke, I remember that as well. I forgot to mention that when he was trolling Carragher, that was hilarious. That was absolutely hilarious.
He does a bit of his punditry on BT as well, and he has got a wicked sense of humour.
I think, to be honest, I'm gonna have to give it to Simpson. To be honest, obviously what he achieved
Yeah,
as a player.
I wouldn't have argued if he'd given that one to Soufal.
I'm gonna be honest. I was very honest when I was on your show the other week, and obviously he went on to win the title. This is gonna be so that's 2-0 to you. 1 second. We're going to move on to one of the centre backs. Maybe I shouldn't have compared these two, but we'll see how it goes. And that's Zuma versus Morgan. You imagine them two together? That would be a bit some fool.
They're brothers from another mother, aren't they? I mean, Wes Morgan, what a guy! What a guy! Yeah. I mean, he came from Forest, which, to be honest with you, is never a good thing with Leicester. But he loves the club. He's got a shop in the town, a tattoo shop. The guy is. He took to Leicester and we took to him. He was a leader. This is what I say. He was the captain for the season, and you tried not to remember him as he was last season when he was coming in and the ball was bouncing off him into the net. And you tried to remember back to that season when the guy was just outstanding.
Was he really that good then? Was he just really?
Captain fantastic, yeah. He led by example. He was reliable. The thing with the defenders then is, and I think it came to a head when we played you the second time later in the season, that season was a lot of holding in the box.
And we got a penalty from it.
Yeah, you did, which was fair enough because the referee had warned them,
Yeah.
and that was the game where Jamie got sent off. I'm sure you'll mention that when we get to it.
I was all going to mention the Schlupp and Andy Cower incident in the last minute.
We'll come on to that later, I'm sure. But I do have my opinion on that, on both of those.
Yeah.
But he was a true leader. He put his body on the line for the club. He's, people call Steve Walsh Captain Fantastic, and he was as well. He was the nearest thing we've ever had to Steve Walsh since then.
No, definitely. And Zuma, obviously, has not been at the club long, and we mentioned it obviously last week when I was on your show, and he obviously made the 11 out of the Super Six or whatever you want to call him. Would you like him in your Leicester defence?
Now, yes, I'd take
it. Yeah, I think he's an absolute warrior, mate. I can't, but like I said, I mentioned it last week. I literally still can't believe he's a West Ham player. I think he's a Rolls Royce of a centre half, to be perfectly honest, and he takes some beating, to be perfectly honest. So,
I mean, at the moment, we're struggling with our defence, as you know, and I would have the Wes Morgan of that era back again without a second thought. Both of them guys that, let's be honest with you, if you met either of them sort of out at night, you'd cross the road, wouldn't you? You wouldn't want to,
definitely.
They're massive guys, massively built, and if I was an attack, I'd go, there you go, you have the ball. You know what I mean?
See, this one's even harder. This was harder than the Soufal one because obviously he was he's a Premier League winner, and obviously Zuma is as well. Yeah. So they've both won the title. I'll let you go first, Chris. Who would you pick?
I'm sorry, but at the moment, I would have given you Danny Simpson. I've got to be honest with you. Like a game of top trumps, this, isn't it? I would have given you Danny Simpson, but for me, I've got to go Wes.
Yeah, no, of course, no problem. To be honest, I can't really argue that. To be honest, Chris, I'm not going to lie. So that is, wrong thing. That's another one to you. Moving on to the other centre half, and to be honest, Chris,
give up. Obviously, go home now, mate. Just go home now.
I'm going to go straight to the point. I can't stand Robert Huth. I never have done. When he was at Chelsea, when he was at Stoke, he is the most. I just couldn't stand. Like whenever he plays, he's a proper old school pain in the arse. But obviously, you love him, don't you?
I mean, this guy, he won us. Without him, we would not have won the Premier League. Let me put it that way. I mean, he came from Stoke City initially on a loan. He shored up the defence. When we signed him in the January of the 2015, we had him on loan. How Stoke could have let him go, I do not know. The guy was a mountain, and again, the sort of guy that we need now, because he just came in with his experience. He was, he'd obviously he'd done it with Chelsea. He'd been doing it at Stoke in the Premier League. Sometimes you look and you think, okay, why have clubs let these players go? But in fairness, I guess, you can be not successful at one club and move and have a great career. I mean, it was the icing on the cake for him, I think, winning it with us. And he literally, him and Wes Morgan, it was what a pairing. Do you know what I mean? When you put two people together and it clicked. It just clicked. It really did. The guy he got 2 goals against Man City. He got a goal against Tottenham.
Yeah.
It was again if he went up, it was a man mounting in defence, and again send him up for corners and just get out the way and let him have a header. And my God, could he head it?
Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look and see what Luke said.
Sorry, but there we go. You asked.
No. Yeah. No. Robert Hoof. If you've never heard of him, watch him play for the first time, you would say, "Who is this German at the back?" That is yeah. Yeah. No. Definitely. I'm really gutted with this because I could have easily, because like you said, we're sort of judging it on how we've started, and obviously Bonner went off injured in the Liverpool game, and Bonner's probably been one of our best players over the last 18 months. He's been Mr. Consistent, and then you've got this man here, Issa Diop, who actually had a really good game against you both times last year. He played with Craig Dawson, and it's like you said, it's a winning side, but it's a Diop had that £80 million. If Harry Maguire went for that, he's had one good season since he's been here, but he's still only young. He's still only 24 years of age, so he has got a bright future. But yeah, like you said, Chris, it's another point to you. I can't really argue, to be perfect.
You're looking there, unfortunately, you're looking at a youngster who's coming through, who's got the potential to be one of the best, and you've got the old experienced head on the other side.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be closer, but I know how much he's loved by the Leicester fans, and to be honest, I love watching him play. And this is the left back position, and that's Aaron Creswell against Fuchs. Do you reckon this is more closer than the others, Chris?
Not in my mind. I don't know. Why have you turned up tonight? No, I mean, Fuchs didn't actually start the season as our natural, left back. Again, he was on a free. We got him on a free. I think it might have been Schalke we got him from. Not sure, but we got him on a free from Germany, and he was Austrian captain. And you're thinking like, wow, Austrian captain, and he was coming towards the end of his years, but we're still thinking, how the hell do we get this guy on the free? He again brought stability to that left-hand side. I think we started with Slupp at the start, and he came in, and the experience was just unreal. He got an amazing throw on him when he does throw-ins. He's still playing now in America.
Is he?
Yeah, he's playing for. I was just looking then. Who was he playing for? He was playing for. He plays for Charlotte Independent in America.
Wow.
I was on Talk Sport. We always have a joke on. I do the Sunday morning show occasionally, and there's one of the guys on there, the Irish guy. We always joke that he was the Hotel California was Leicester to him, because he signed in, but he could never leave because he was supposed to go back to America at the end of his contract, and he kept having another year. I used to call him the Terminator, for that saying, I am old but not obsolete. That was Christian Fuchs, amazing guy, totally lovely person. I mean, he put film up of him always winding Shinji Okazaki up. The guy, it was a surprise when, because he'd come from, we didn't know him, like I said, come on a free. But yeah, again, it was that experience that he brought to us, which was amazing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Aaron's been at the club since a while. He's been at the club since 2014-15 season, so he's a part of the furniture, and he had a good couple of years, and then he got that injury. He's been called up to the England squad, played a couple of caps, and then the start of last season, I wanted him out of the club. The first 2 games, we lost. He was shocking, but since then he's been Mr. Consistent. Soufal and Creswell combined have got the most assists since the start of last season, so they are very close. And obviously, I know Fuchs was good. Creswell's had another good start to the season. I think he's got on his 5th or 6th assist already. So I know, obviously, with your Leicester hat, I'm trying to make a claim for Creswell, but I don't think I can really.
I mean, he never scored in the Premier League. He scored in a couple of cup games, but it was just. I mean, again, I love the guy to bits.
Okay. Well, we'll spin it round this way. So, obviously, before he signed, if you had the choice of Creswell and Fuchs, who would you have picked?
Oh, come on!
I've got to try. I've got to try.
I'm going to give you credit. You're doing your best to get a West Ham fan in there. Of course, I mean, because he didn't play in the Premier League. We know what Creswell would bring to us. So we'd say, do we want a young Creswell or again an older Christian Fuchs? But that was if you don't know them,
Yeah, I know, I understand. Okay. I'll tell you what. I'm going to lose that one. I'm going against it. I'm taking the right back. I'm having Soufal. I'm having Soufal, and you can have. Yeah, I am, because I think we're gonna have no one. I think we're just have. I think we literally are gonna have no one.
I did warn you. I didn't know. We are talking a championship winning.
No, of course we are. Of course we are. No. I'm being like, this is not proper. This is obviously comparing. Like, we're trying to compare. Like you said, too, we're very, very similar. Like, I know it's early stages, it's flipping not even a third of the way through the season yet, but I'm just obviously, you're telling me their strengths, and I'm sort of comparing. Like you said, if you who would you rather win the title, a top side or a West Ham, if Leicester don't?
Oh, I actually went on a West Ham channel the other night, and they were talking about similar sort of thing that we're talking about. I only popped on; I didn't sort of do the whole show, but I really would love you guys to win it. I mean, unfortunately, at this point, I don't think you will.
No, I'm not going to lie. I think top four's with a push, but you never.
Is there for you. Man United have fallen away. As long as we keep hold of Rodgers and he doesn't go to Man United, I think that 4th place is there for the taking. But never say never. I remember
like you took one game at a time, didn't you?
Oh, definitely. And at the end of after the first game of the season, Claudio was being interviewed by Gary Lineker on Match of the Day, and like Gary said, it will probably look a lot different at the end of the season. Little did he know, because we were top of the table. It was. I'd love West Ham to do it again, because I have a hatred of the what I call them, the ESL6, and
of course
not because I particularly hate the clubs for any reason, but it's the whole fans. They all seem to sort of like, the Man United fans. There was a Man United before Alex Ferguson, and guess what, guys? They weren't that good.
Of course, yeah.
It's simple. Yes, you've got the history now. Yes, you've won all those, but before Fergie, you were just not good, and Liverpool were the bigger team. But now Liverpool are, youngsters these days, we're Man United. Why wouldn't he want to walk on barefoot on broken glass to get to us? I'll tell you the other reason for putting Fuchs in as well. No other reason than the fact that I don't think whether it was Mesut Ozil, but he took a throw in, and the Arsenal guy wouldn't get out the way.
And he threw it against him, didn't he?
He threw it against him, and the guy went down like it was a,
Oh no, I think that was Alexis Sanchez. I think it was Sanchez.
That was it, Sanchez. Yes, it was Sanchez. Yeah,
I remember that, because I'm
putting him in just for that, if no other reason.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like you said, Chris, there's a long way to go, and there is similarities. I think if we still had Bonner, you could probably call Zuma and Bonner the same as Hoof and Morgan.
Yeah.
You can
I'll give you Soufal, though. I'll let you go back.
Yeah. And Luke's saying Fuchs' biggest strength was his intelligence, understood to be a pro rather than just relying on talent. No, I agree.
Yes,
I agree. Steve's on one tonight. This is just the start of a plan to get us out of the tournament, because we're going to win the thing.
Do you know what, though? I get where he's coming from, because you Like, I remember Leicester when we got in the Champions League after that season. We went out to Atletico Madrid in the quarterfinals, and there was a penalty that was like so dodgy. Was it in? Was it out? You know,
Yeah.
But of course, because it wasn't Leicester and it was Atletico Madrid, they want these big teams to stay in the competitions. And why do all the Champions League teams that finish third in the Champions League come down to the Europa League? Why did Man United? Man United nearly won the Europa League last season by being failures in the Champions League. You know, just because they're Man United. They're not West Ham. They're not Leicester. You know. Don't you started me now, Steve. You've started me. I'm sorry.
No, of course. I'm never going to say, obviously, the next one is obviously Mahrez and Bowen. Obviously, both left-footed, both huge talents, both roughly the same age as well. So obviously they're both developing well. Bowen's had a good start to the season, but Chris, just how good was Mahrez that season?
No, just give it to him now.
No, I'm not comparing him. I'm just asking just how good he was in general.
Yeah,
There's no
Mahrez was absolutely. I mean, he there's a couple of players here that left us under a cloud. And I'm going to say with Mahrez, you know, we all remember him being sat on the airport at Manchester just in case his agent rang, you know, and telling him to get on a plane because so and so was interested in him. And him, you know, it giving him depression because he couldn't move out and he couldn't play in a couple of season games. And, you know, that probably cost us that season. But when this guy was on form, you could not stop him. I mean, you know, this is the guy that nobody ever heard of. This sums Leicester's transfer policy and transfer strategy up, that we can go and get players like this that cost us. Well, I think Mahrez was less than 10 million. Probably somebody will remind me, and we sold him for 60 to West Ham.
I thought it was only 3 or 4 million.
It might well have been. I know it was under 10, like I say, but you know, we sold him for 60 million. He was Man City's biggest buy up until Grealish. The guy could play music with that football. You know, he'd leave defenders on their arse. What he couldn't do with the ball wasn't worth doing. You know, and he's for me. And you're probably going to laugh at this, but you know, if this guy played for Real Madrid, he'd have been a Messi. You know, if he played, he'd have been a Ronaldo. If he played for Barcelona, he'd have been a Messi.
Chris, sorry to interrupt. Can you remember? You said 10 million. You signed him for 450 grand.
My God, was it that? I'll be honest with you, it was that. Yeah,
that long ago. Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
It was 450, and we got 60 million for him. You know, what a buy! And you know, this was the guy who was at St Mirren on trial, and actually did a runner from St Mirren because he hated it. He ran out on them and went back to France. You know, it was all got a bit sour at the end, but in fairness to us, he gave us an extra season in the Champions League, got us to the quarterfinals there, and obviously then sort of wanted to move. But yeah, the guy, I would kiss, if he walked in now, I'd kiss his feet. He was just amazing. I'm surprised, you know, the problem is with players like this, you know, he'll be remembered just as much for being a bench warmer at Man City as he was for winning the Premier League.
Does he get a good reception when you've played? When he comes back, does he get a good reception, or does the Leicester
from
fans?
The proper fans? And I don't mean that horribly, but there's people that will always boo. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
to my mind, anybody that comes back as an ex-Leicester player, apart from Dennis Wise, should get a good reception.
That's another episode, Chris. Yeah?
That is another episode, that one, yes. You're too young to remember that, but yeah. But, you know, yes, if he makes a mistake, then, you know, laugh at him and take the mickey out of him. But give him, you know, the respect.
I think it fires them up more when you start booing them. They're like, I'm going to prove.
It does.
Yeah, it does. Obviously, there's no comparison compared to how they were this season. I just hope that's what Bowen's got to his game. Obviously, the goal we got against Liverpool reminded me of Mahrez picking the ball up and just driving it driving at the
Oh,
defence, both left-footed, and to be honest, Bowen is as much as key as any West Ham player in this side. If Bowen stays at the form he has the last 3 or 4 games, we've got a huge chance of staying up there, in my opinion. So,
yeah. I mean, again, definitely, why not? And the thing with Mahrez when we first got him was he almost thought he was better than he was.
yeah.
In as much as he just
Who's
put
that
one
other
foot.
right winger we used to have who plays for Fulham now? Knockhart.
Ah,
Yeah, shall we not talk about him?
no. He was amazing. He wasn't Premiership quality. I would, he could play on either side.
Sorry, Luke. Luke, no, we've got one, so it could be 10-1.
To have Knockout on one side and Mahrez on the other when we won the championship, they were amazing. Knockout unfortunately came out and allegedly said he was using Leicester as a stepping stone. Absolutely pissed off. Excuse my French. No pun intended. Nigel Pearson, and that was it as far as his time at Leicester was concerned. Never, if Knockout was on was maybe sort of an 8 out of 10, Mahrez was a 10. He was always that, but he always tried at the start to do that one thing too much. He'd go past 4 players, and that wasn't good enough. He had to get past the 5th, and he'd lose it. And I think Claudio got that out of him, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and obviously, I don't want to remind you, but obviously that incident of him missing the penalty.
What incident was that?
Yeah, I know. I don't want to remind. But that was the making of yous. I think that brought you back strong, and obviously the next season it went from strength to strength. But yeah. This is the Andy being a gentleman, a true reflection of a hammer, generous and respectful to the. Stevie, I think I would be exactly the same. To be perfectly honest, the reason why I've got Chris on is because we've not got the Super Six money. We've not got but what we've got is a good manager and team spirit, and you've got to admit, Chris, team spirit probably got you through. What 50,
we were known as the band of brothers. We like we said before, we were a collection of rejects, cheap buys, foreign buys, and they all just came together. And if we'd have put a player, if we'd have gone out and bought a player for 15, 20 million at that point and put him in the team, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah,
because that team spirit we had. And just in reply to Stevie, at the start, if you were watching, I said I like West Ham. I want them to be top 4. If we can't do it this season, I want a club like West Ham to do it. And I was on that other channel the other day, and I wish them all the best for the season. I hope you really.
And you were respectful as well after last season's results as well, wasn't it? When was it the 3-2 game as well?
Yeah.
When that's the first time I met you.
You're asking me to say. Or try and be unbiased about a team that won the Premier League. You can't be. If we're comparing your team now to our team, well, that's another story. But we are comparing championship winners. I'm trying not to be biased.
No, sorry, chat. I probably should have mentioned it. I know that it's going to be, but what I'm sort of trying to compare is the teams. I'm not coming here to get a white. It's just Chris's honest opinion of we're trying to compare.
You compared all these players after 11 games of our winning season to your team now, I think we'd probably come up with a different answer.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I said, though, I've got a lot of time for you, and I'm just trying to get better on. This is not just
after 11 games. Christian Fuchs wouldn't have got in because it would have been in Jeff Slupp, and I would have given you, anybody against Jeff Slupp.
Of course. I hate that guy as well. He always does well against us for Palace. He just turns up and turns into blimmin'. Ashley Cole on steroids, right? Do you know what I mean?
He scored against us, as all ex-players seem to against Leicester, but we'll come on to him later. But
no, of course. This one, I know it's a winning title, but like you said, when we was on that show, we tried to get the double act of players like Rice and Souček together. But I think the midfield battle was probably the closest battle on the pitch, Chris. And I've done it on purpose because they are the same sort of players, Rice and Kante. But we've got these two. Just how good was Danny Drinkwater that season? Was he that good, or did Kante get him through it? I know they won the title, but in your honest opinion.
Okay, this is one I am going to be honest on, and Drinkwater was as good as Kante made him look.
Right, okay.
Again, you're looking at another Man United reject here. Don't get me wrong, he got some great goals. He could hit a ball, undoubtedly. Scored a great long shot on the last game of the season against Chelsea that season. Again, he couldn't wait to get a move to Chelsea. He was parked, in his car outside their ground waiting for the move.
Who was the other one? That was Odemwingie, wasn't it, for West Brom when he done that to QPR, wasn't it?
Yeah, Drinkwater. I mean, he got his move, and again, we made a very handsome profit on him. I mean, unfortunately, if you ever want to say to a player, be careful what you wish for, and the grass isn't always greener, look at Drinkwater.
I think he's still in their reserve, or have they released him? Is he still at Chelsea?
He might. I don't know. To be honest,
let me have a look while you're talking.
He could be in jail because, I mean, let's face it, he has a habit of having fights in pubs these days, doesn't he?
Yeah, no, definitely.
If I say that out loud, but no, he was when before Kante it was him and James, Matty James. And unfortunately,
he's on loan at Reading. Wow.
There's a surprise. That says it all to you. You know what I mean? But he's earning a lot of money off Chelsea. They can afford it. I think they thought when they were going to get Drinkwater that they were getting this amazing player that if they put him back with Kante would be amazing. But again, he's gone to a club. At Leicester, these players were big fish, like Mahrez. But take them into a club like a Chelsea and Man City that is full of big fishes, and suddenly they're little tiddlers. Drinkwater, better. I'll give you this one because had we not had Kante, Drinkwater would not have been as good as he was, unfortunately.
Yeah. Do you reckon Kante and Souček would work well together if you had Souček instead of Danny? Or do you reckon Kante was just that good that year?
Oh, Claudio Ranieri summed it up. With having Kante was like having two players, and you could almost expect at one point Kante to cross the ball or put a pass through, and Kante would be on the other end of it. That's how good the guy was.
Thanks, Stevie. I appreciate that. They were amazing, but I was half tempted to tune off as it seemed it would be a while. See, since that comment's come in, we've gained another one. So we've gained another one.
See, I'm being honest, Stevie, but unfortunately, our defence.
I know. I know. Drinkwater was a massive shame. Our career should have looked at Steve Sidwell. Yeah, no. And let's have a look.
It's the grass isn't always greener, but.
Of course, it's not, mate.
We do that in our lives. We go for a job because it's promotion or it's more money, and suddenly we don't like it as much as the job we left on less money. So,
wow, Luke, Chris, look what Luke said. Literally the same sign as you said it.
Yeah,
he literally he did say it. I think comparing these next two, I know Rice and Kante. Rice is like us. He's like an extra player on the pitch. Before you talk about Kante, Chris, just how good do you think Declan Rice can be?
I'm surprised, and no disrespect to you, but I'm surprised that he is still with you this season. I thought he was going to go in the off season. Again, there's a certain other player who's quite good in the midfield that plays in claret and blue that disappeared to a bigger club, and didn't even get on the pitch in the derby, did he? But
Yeah.
he's stuck with you. I don't know how that long's for. Hopefully, you can keep hold of him. Again, he will be a big fish for you. Will he be that big a fish? Will he get regular game time at these other clubs? But then these guys have got to think of the wages, and they've got a living to make. There's no limit to how good he can be if he wanted to. It's a shame you put him up against Kanté. I've got to be honest with you, but
I know, no. But everyone says it. Like, obviously, we'll talk about the season. Obviously, you win the title. How close do you think they are now? Kante at Chelsea now and Declan Rice. Do you reckon you can't compare them as the same? Do you reckon they're quite close, or do you reckon Kante is still miles better than Rice now?
I wouldn't say he's miles better, but he is better because of his age and his experience. He's a Champions League winner. He's an FA Cup winner. All these, he's got at Chelsea. He's a Premier League winner. He left us that season, and he left it under a bit of a cloud. It was almost like he couldn't wait to leave. He did that one season. He got his free BMW off the owner, and he was off at the first call to Chelsea. But it was in his contract that he could go for either a certain amount or there was a clause in there, and it was triggered. It was, but I say, unfortunately, he could have just gone a little bit better than he did. But again, what I would say is, if Kanté was English, right, out of these two guys, at the moment, who would be in your starting 11 for England?
Both of them.
No, you can't. No. That's popping out. No. If you'd only have one of them, who would you pick? Honestly, see, for me, at the moment, it would be Kanté.
Yeah.
Ask me that same question in another 3 years or 2 or 3 years, it would probably be Rice.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate. I agree with you. I agree, but I had to put them both together because that's what they're compared to. Both box to box. Deck used to be just a holding midfield player, but this season he's added goals to his game. He's got 3 goals to his game. He's got the most interceptions and stuff like that. And like you said, I can't remember who commented. Someone commented on the post because I shared the link today, and they said, I'm sorry. Oh, he's got me again. He always gets me with this stuff. Oh dear. But no, if I had to, like you said, Kante is different gravy, and they're both compared. And you've got to have that spine, Chris. That's what West Ham have got. We've got Zuma, we've got Rice, and we've got Antonio. And obviously, you had that with, you could say, Morgan, Kante, and Vardy. If you've got a good spine, you've got a chance of doing well, haven't you?
Kante's never going to get you, 10 goals a season, but he's going to stop you, the opposition getting 20 goals a season.
Definitely.
That is his job. It's that thou shalt not pass. He's got that. That's it tattooed on his eyelids, I think. Again, another one of those. We got him for. It might have been him that we paid a few million for, and we sold him for a lot of money to Chelsea. Say Rice has got the potential to go on and possibly even a future England captain. Who knows? But at the moment, comparing,
I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. So we've still got 2. I'm happy. Make
the most of it, mate. I think you peaked.
Yeah. well, this one I think is quite close as well. Comparing them, is Albrighton and Fornals. They're both the same kind of player, I feel. But the one I'm a huge Albrighton, like, considering how old is he now? Is he mid-30s now? Is he?
Yeah, he's just signed a new contract actually, but he could have gone to. I know Burnley were interested, but he's now sort of like super sub. The fact that this guy never played for England at senior level was a travesty.
Yeah.
This guy, he could put a button on when he was on form. He could put a ball in on a sixpence. You know,
Yeah.
he could get down the wings, he could put the cross in, and Vardy knew where the ball was coming from. He knew where Vardy was going to run to. It was amazing. And people often say, well, Mahrez and Vardy had that sort of relationship. So did Albrighton and Vardy. He should have been in the England. Had he worn different colours, he might have been in that England team. But of course,
Yeah.
he was wearing Leicester blue at the time, as he was never going to make the England team, Mr. Hodgson. But he even now, to the thought that you're knackered. There's 80 minutes of the game gone. There's 10 minutes left, plus maybe a few minutes of injury time, and he walks onto the pitch. As a defender, you're going to go, oh shit.
Can you see similarities between Albrighton and Fornells? Have you seen much of Fornells for us?
Haven't seen much of him. Heard a lot about him. I mean, he again, you're comparing, somebody. I don't know how old Fornells is. He's not that old, is he?
24, I think. 24, I
so
think.
He's probably just coming up to his peak, But again, if you're comparing now. Sorry, I'd have to put Fornells in there now, but you're looking at Albrighton then, and he was Aston Villa let him go on a free.
Yeah.
I mean, Villa, what the hell were you doing?
Yeah.
And he came in, and I've got to be honest with you. If you go back to the season before, the Great Escape season, we were really struggling. We weren't getting walloped by anybody, but we were really struggling. And Albrighton's missus had said something that Pearson didn't like, and again, Pearson didn't pick him for that reason. And then as soon as he started picking him towards the end of the season, we started playing well, getting points and winning games, and obviously we stayed up. That's how good he was, and for me, he should have played for England, and thank you, Aston Villa, for letting us have him for absolutely nothing. He's been a servant. He wears his heart on his sleeve. Like I say, if you said to me now, right, these two are up for, like I say, our team of the tournament outside the top, team of the league outside the top big six. Who would I have now? I would have Fornells.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But you're talking about an Albrighton then.
No, of course, no. That's what it's all about, Chris. Like I said, I'm just trying to get an insight because you're telling. I do remember because Leicester, obviously, I wanted, especially when you won the title, when Chelsea stopped and we stopped Tottenham a few. We obviously beat them at home as well, which made you go on to it. It's sort of comparing. The players are very similar. The squad, do you know what I mean? The players are the same, like the Soufals, the Simpsons, the Bowen, the Mahrez. I'm not saying that Mahrez was different. Like, do you know what I mean? It's a comparison, and
again,
these two.
Like I said, when you look, if you were to compare your team now that has played 11 games,
compared
look at our team after 11 games. It's completely. You would get different answers. I know.
Of course.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, I'm just trying to compare like the squads, and I'm going to look back on this, and what we'll do is we'll do another comparison at the end of the season to see where we finish, and I think that'll be a bit more interesting to obviously see. Obviously, I know it's won the title, but obviously to see how the season's gone, and we'll even do a combined 11 of the current Leicester and West Ham if we finish close together. I think that'll be a good one.
I'll probably give you a lot more in that one.
No, definitely. I've got a question. We'll have a little break from this, Chris. How mental was Nigel Pearson? There's a question from Luke.
Sorry, what was the question? Sorry, how mental was Nigel Pearson? Could he kill a wolf? Yes, he could. And I don't know if he did or he certainly went for one. I met the guy. I was when we were in the Championship, as I lived down, say, just outside Bournemouth, and I'd got a ticket to the game, but I was with the away fans because I didn't have enough points to get in the Leicester van. I was actually sat behind the bench. I was sat close to the Leicester, the squad that hadn't got on the subs bench or anything. And at the end, we'd won. Phillips had scored. We'd won and what have you. And by then, of course, a lot of the fans had left. I was feeling confident. My shirt was on show under me, under the other shirt that I'd hidden. And he looked up and he saw me in the Leicester shirt. And he called us down and said, "What are you doing sat in this side?" I was talking away to him. And he said, and then a guy came out and said, "Nigel, Sky are waiting for you." The interview him after the game. And he went, "Just tell him to hang on a minute. I'm just talking." I carried on talking to me and my son. This persona that he had was not the real Nigel Pearson. Do you know what I mean? He was a lovely chap. I mean, that to me summed him up. And I think what he was trying to do, you got to remember how our season was going that season. When he had the incident with the wolf quote. He gave some strange press conferences. There was the ostrich moment. Even I don't understand that moment. What he was trying to do was he was trying to do like what Mourinho does, is deflect any criticism, any hassle towards his players, and have it directed at him. And Josie was excellent at doing that. You'd come out the press conference and you wouldn't have spoke about the team. You'd been talking about him because that's what he did. I think Nigel was trying to do that because our season was so bad at that point.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't very good at it. If you look when he had the incident with MacArthur, was it at Crystal Palace when he tried to strangle him? The guy ran into him, knocked him over, and of course he was on trying to strangle him. Now at that point, that was funny because we'd tried to buy the player. He hadn't signed for us. He'd gone to Palace and then he, knocked Nigel Pearson over. But then he's tried to stop him going on the pitch. And that was like, he's always kind of just took things too far. And of course, there's the famous incident with where he told a fan to go away and go 6 feet under. But again, we don't know. Well, we do know what the fan had said to him. The fan had said something really, really nasty about one of the Leicester players, and he reacted. And you could say, well, he shouldn't do, but he was defending one of his players. He never apologised for that, and why should he? Because the fan never apologised for saying something nasty about one of the players. Or that's okay, But no, I love the guy. Love the guy to bits. And just at this point, I would just actually just like to give a shout out to him because he is going through a bit of a health problem at the moment. He's
is he?
Yeah, he's on leave from Bristol City. So Nigel, and I know he watches this channel all the time, but Nigel, take care, mate. Stay safe. We still love you at Leicester.
No, definitely, mate. Definitely. Moving on to the next one, Chris. Maybe I should have put them as separate, but I couldn't But Okazaki, how good was he?
Do you know what? Again, an amazing signing. We got him in that summer, and it was a weird one because we thought, he'd come from Germany. Who the hell is this guy? And if you look at, he's basically our number 2 striker, and you say, look, how many goals did he score for you? Not that many, and that's the funny thing. As it was all, if you like, Jamie Vardy, Mahrez, what have you. But I remember going to that first match, and it was a lovely sunny day. We played Sunderland. We won 4-2, and I remember turning to my son and went, "That guy is like a pit bull."
Yeah,
he never stopped running. He if he lost the ball, he would chase after you to get it back. No wonder he never played more than 60 minutes, hardly ever, because he was knackered after 60 minutes because he ran so much and harassed players.
Is that why Ajoa's because I didn't realise he played that much. Is that what it was? Okazaki for 60 and Ajoa for
60
30.
minutes, yeah, yeah,
Is that what it
yeah.
was? Yeah.
Okazaki always started. Great relationship with Jamie Vardy. Again, another one of those that just clicked. But the guy was absolutely knackered. He must have been. He chipped in with a few goals here and there as well, but he was. I turned to my son that game and went, he's going to be amazing for us. I said, he literally was a dog. He was a dog with a bone. You tried to run away from him with a bone, he'd have got it off you. The guy. When they say your first line of defense is your attackers,
Yeah.
that could have been written for Shinji Okazaki.
Yeah. Because
And
I think
he likes a nice plate of fish and chips as well. Bless him.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that's where this side sort of compares. I know we sort of play a 4-2-3-1, but our three behind Antonio alternate. So that's where we get that high press from. Like they all take it in turns. And Ben Rama, to be fair, he had his criticism last year, and to be honest, I criticised him a few times because he wasn't. But this season, he's slowly starting to become the player what we expected. He's getting his goals, he's getting his assists, and I'll tell you what, Chris, you wouldn't mind him now in the current side, Ben Rama, would you?
No, not at all. And we've said this so much tonight, but at the end of the day, I mean, unfortunately, Shinji left us, and he didn't quite go on. I think the club he signed for, I don't think he even played for them because they were in financial difficulties, so they couldn't sign him in the end. As Luke said there, bundle of beans. He was. He got an amazing overhead kick against Newcastle. The smile.
I think he scored.
Smiling.
He scored at us at Upton Park, didn't he?
He did. He did.
That was it.
Yes. Yeah. He got to love him for that. But, no, the guy he never stopped smiling either. You could go on, break his leg, and he'd still come up smiling. Love the guy. He was, like I say, he was a pit bull.
Yeah. Obviously, last week on your channel, Chris, there was a bit of a turmoil between these two. We compared them now, and we compared obviously Vardy. What was it? 24 league goals he got when you won the league, wasn't it?
It's something like that. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
he didn't win the Golden Boot, but he did score 11 in 11.
I know that's ridiculous.
And, yeah, and even at 7 in 7, it was a better return, I think, than when Van Nistelrooy got his 7 for 7 for United, because Van Nistelrooy was actually over 2 seasons, so he actually had a break in the middle. Jamie Vardy did it all in 1 season. I mean, it's like there was nothing that Leicester couldn't do that season. 11 goals in 11.
Was it that Liverpool goal which springs to mind off the top of my head at your one, King Power, when he lobbed thingy?
That is in the. For me, it's in the top 5 ever Leicester City goals. That
really,
yeah, and I mean, it was he saw the goalkeeper off his line. And he said afterwards, he said he knew that their goalkeeper, he had a habit of doing that, of walking quite a way up the pitch. And he said he just saw it and he went for it, and the gods collided that day and came together. And of course, let's not forget his 11th goal, going back to Christian Fuchs, who we put in. I mean, the ball he played through to Vardy, what the Man United defender was doing is he just let it go past him. If he'd actually just stuck his foot out, he'd have probably saved it. But that ball from Christian Fuchs, which is actually on the right-hand side, not the left-hand side, but it was an amazing, amazing ball for Vardy. I mean, 11 goals in 11 games. I don't know. I think it'll be a while before we see that beaten, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So Mikel Antonio, I'm not gonna say he's gonna get to that, but the way he's going, so he's featured in 10 Premier League games because one of them he was suspended for. He's got 6 goals and 3 assists so far.
I mean, the other game when you beat us earlier in the season, I think you could have played his cardboard cutout and it'd have played better than Leicester's defence that day. But again, So, what I don't know who it's yourself or again, a West Ham fan said to me at the start of the season, you need to keep him fit to do well.
Yeah, I agree.
And he has got the potential, and this is what you're looking at with West Ham. And I really hope, what Leicester managed to do. Yes, we lost Kante, but that was the only player that we lost that we didn't want to lose after the season. And if you can keep this group together, I thought, I'm going to say, hands up, I thought you'd be back down. Really,
Yeah.
I thought last season was a one-off, and you were punching above your weight, and this season you'd be back down at the bottom again, and you're not. And all credit to you for that. And if you can keep this team together with the experience they're getting in Europe, with the experience they're getting where they are in the league, and if you can finish in that top four, there's no reason why you can't have success for a few years to come.
Yeah. Obviously, Luke, like I said, I'm not comparing Vard. If he stays fit, Chris, do you reckon he could get close to the 20 mark Premier League goals? He's got 6 so far. If Antonio stays, if he stays fit,
yeah, why not? And plus more. He's going to give any. If he stays fit, he's going to give any defense trouble. And if we could buy him now, yeah, I'd take him.
Yeah, no, definitely. Let's have a look here. Let's have a look what Luke's Vardy, Lomas, Dick, Savage, Ben-Ami, Hoof. Every other team fans hate, but we love them. It's true. It's true. When you have players like Vardy, he always normally touch wood. The last 2 games, he's not really turned up like when he's played us. To be honest, he's had his and I don't know whether that's whether you deserve us credit or that, because before that he used to rip us to shreds. I'm not going to lie, but
you've got to give a bit of credit to the opposition team. And again, this is like a West Ham Leicester thing. I'm sure sort of you didn't get the credit you deserved for the Liverpool win. It was more what Liverpool did wrong. And we got that when we beat Man United 4-2. It wasn't the fact that we didn't let them play and we were the better team. It was just how bad they were. So, yes, you've got to give you credit. But Vardy, his role's slightly kind of changing now. And he always does do better against the big 6, tend to give him more room at the back to play his natural game.
Has he lost his pace yet, Chris? Is he a little bit slow, or is he still rapid? Obviously, I don't really see him.
He's still rapid. I mean, I couldn't run like him when I was 16, let alone when I was his age. But, it's whether you give him the space to run into, and a lot of teams aren't doing now. And he will eventually, we've got Daka in there. He'll come
How
through.
good is Daka? How good is Daka?
I haven't seen an awful lot of him yet. But, if you're telling me any guy that goes into the Europa League or European game and gets you 4 goals in one game, that answers your question. And it is going to be absolutely amazing. He's got the pace as well. And eventually Vardy will become a super sub. But can you imagine it being West Ham 1, Leicester 1, again, 75 minutes, and you look up and you see, as a defender, you see we're bringing Jamie Vardy on.
Exactly.
That will be his role at super sub. And just replying to Luke there, I presume Savage, you mean Robbie Savage, because the Leicester fans hate him as much now as everybody else does.
Like I said, Chris, you know what? I'm not even going to compare them other players because they're on a different level anyway, compared to the other 3 what I've got in reserve. But
do Mr. Schlupp. Do Mr. Schlupp, please.
All right, we'll do Schlupp. How good was he?
He did what? He wasn't. He could run, and that's all he could do. I'm sure. When you say to somebody, "Oh, as a striker, top bins," right? I think his bin was in row Z because that's all he could. He couldn't really. All he'd got, like I say, he'd got a turn of pace on him, and he'd run at you, and he was fast. But he had no control, no final product at all. The goals he got, I remember he got one that season, and he was on the line, and he only just managed to scuff it in, But but now you could. I don't know I can't remember who the other 2 were, but I would give you that one because he was bless him,
Yeah,
he wasn't
yeah,
the
yeah.
best.
I still can't believe Vardy has 2 Red Bulls before the game. It's flipping ridiculous when he had that interview. It still cracks
And the
me up.
rest, and the rest.
I know that's what Luke said. Yeah.
You
Um,
know.
I think these two actually. We'll talk about these two. I don't want to talk about the last one because I absolutely hate the guy who I picked on that, but that was the closest. Was Lanzini? I think he's going to play a very good role for us this season, especially coming off the bench. Chris, he lost his pace when done his cruise ship a couple of years ago, and he's sort of been getting more and more deeper. But he's a very good playmaker. What role did King do for you in that season? And did he just mop it up then? Really?
Yeah, he was an attacking midfielder. You know, I mean,
Right.
he's the only person I know that has got a League One, a Championship, and a Premier League winners medal. You know,
Yeah.
again, he is Mr. Leicester. He was amazing. He started very few games. I don't know how many, if at all, he started, but he got some very important goals for us, and that was the thing. You know, in the comeback season, you know, he kind of started it all off with the great comeback,
Yeah.
setting up. He got a goal. You could. He was Mr. Reliable. You know, was never going to be a Messi or Ronaldo. Was never going to set the all the light. But you know, you know, if he came on, he wouldn't let you down. He would do a job, and he deserved to be part of that squad for what he'd done for the club. And like I say, you knew that he could always sneak a goal in as well.
Yeah. No, definitely,
Oh,
definitely.
go
I
on,
think that's
pick the last one. Pick the last one.
no, really.
Yes.
What a Ukrainian donkey?
Now I'm thinking, Mr. Ujoa. What a guy! I mean, he was shat upon by Claudio Ranieri. Who he was, because he was promised a lot of things that he then said that Claudio went back on. I actually met him at a petrol station once. Nice guy of all places. After a game, nice guy.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
he came from Brighton, and we signed him because it was a season we went up. He came to us that season. We came up, and Nigel Pearson went to the Leicester defence and said, "Who's caused you the most problems this season?" And they all said Leonardo Ujoa. And right, we'll go and get him. And that's how he came to the club. And he was Mr. Reliable. You know, he was good with penalties. You know, if Vardy went off and you brought Ujoa on, you weren't worried.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. We won't.
he got a goal against Norwich that season that caused him an earth. It was actually registered as an earthquake in Leicester. The fans going absolutely, because he got an equaliser. Well, it was in the 91st minute, something like that, and it
Yeah.
actually registered. It registered on the scale. So he caused an earthquake. Love the guy to bits. Wish he'd stayed longer, but wasn't to be. But he actually even he's in Argentina now, and even now he well, it was last year. He actually answered some questions for me from my website. So really nice guy, and reliable again, absolutely reliable.
And Luke saying basically Leicester were like the team in Escape to Victory.
Yes, yeah, we were everybody's. Unless you were a Spurs or even probably an Arsenal fan at the end, we were everybody's second favourite team
Yeah.
that season because we were live. It was an amazing season. It was, you know, I was having to beg time off work to come home and do TV shows for New Zealand and America. And, you know, I can remember one day I got a phone call off somebody in Japan, I think it was. I said, "Oh, I'll see if I can't do it. I'll see if I can get somebody else." And I rang up another blog. I said, "Can you do this for me? I'm kind of double booked." He said, "Well, I'll do that for you if you do this one for me." And it was
Wow.
just, it was but I think it was only, and I think I said this to you before, it was only because we'd struggled last season. If you were to win it this season, it would still be a shock. It would still be amazing, but it wouldn't be as big a shock as We were favourites for everybody to go back down again. We'd only just stayed up, and to win it the season after that, I think that was the story.
Yeah. Luke pretty much sums it. It's like that party at university when some bloke chucks a load of drink in a punch bowl and it makes the best cocktail.
yeah. Like I say, you wouldn't look at that team. It was journeymen, it was rejects, but that was what created the band of brothers. Like I say, you couldn't go out and buy a 15-20 million pound player and put him in that team, and he came as the big I am, because it wouldn't have worked. There was no big I ams there in that team.
Yeah, see, that's what West Ham have done. David Moyes, the two record signings who we've bought, they're out the club now. Haller and Anderson, and we're slowly rebuilding. Like Bowen's 20 million, Souček's 20. Like if you sort of compare the price comparison now than what it was when even in 5 years, it's probably tripled, isn't it? Really, to what
Totally.
But Chris, obviously, as a Leicester fan, how do you see your season going? What would be a good season for you?
To be honest with you, I
actually, before I asked, do you reckon Brendan's going United?
If he does, I wouldn't be surprised, because when he came to us, we knew this was a stepping stone for him. He had to come back. He'd done what he did at Celtic.
Yeah,
but I'm doing a show tomorrow night with an ex-player, and we talk about general football things. And one of the topics we've got is how shite is Scottish football. The fact that Brendan walked out on Celtic mid-season, Gerrard walked out on Rangers mid-season. To go to Villa and Leicester. That's how bad Scott. So I don't think he'll walk out mid-season, because he did that at Celtic, and he would then get a bit of a reputation. So it might be the end of the season. Disappointed to see him go. Wouldn't want him to go. Who would
you like as a replacement if he did go now? Is there anyone in mind who you think could keep up that, or is there not really anyone? Have you not really thought about it really?
I've got to be totally honest with you, not really thought about it, because I don't think of him leaving. There isn't necessarily one of the unemployed managers, shall we say, that would interest me. Eddie Howe might have done, but obviously he's gone to Newcastle. It's how do you follow Brendan Rodgers? Because he's got his two. It's like, how did you follow Martin O'Neill? We struggled. We didn't. We got Peter Taylor the Muppet. But he was. But if he goes, like I say, we knew he'd come back down, he'd rebuild his reputation, and then he would move on to a bigger club. I would hate it to be United. And what I would hate more than anything is the fact that you got the United fans, and I've seen a couple of shows and they're saying who's going to replace Ollie if he leaves, and it's like, oh, Brendan would love to come here. It's Manchester United, we're the biggest club, blah, blah, blah. That's what pisses me off about these clubs, is there. During the summer, was Maddison going to Arsenal? And, Arsenal fans are saying, why wouldn't he want to come here? We're Arsenal. Yeah, you were below us in the table. You were in Europe. Why would you want to go to you? Some of the fans of the so-called big clubs need to sometimes get a reality check. But this season, we're struggling with the defenders because we've got injuries.
That's what Luke's saying there.
Yeah. We've got the squad now, but it is this season. We've never had as good a squad as this, I don't think. You look at our bench sometimes and you think, wow, that's the bench. Daka's sat on the bench, players like that. But it's moulding them together. Do you know what I mean? And I think this season, it's almost like a reality check season for us. We've had a couple of fifths. We've won the FA Cup. It's
won the Charity Shield. I will give you that's a good trophy to win.
I forgot that. Actually, I did forget that. But can I just say that it isn't actually the Charity Shield? It is
the Community Shield.
No. The English Super Cup.
Oh, okay.
if you go to Spain, it's the Spanish Super Cup. That's what I like to think of it as. But no, yeah, we won that. So it is almost like you've got teams like the West Hams, the Arsenal are coming back into it. There's so many clubs now fighting for that fifth, sixth, seventh position that haven't been for a few seasons, and we've been ahead of the pack, but the rest of the pack is catching us up. And I just hope that one of those, and if it's West Ham, brilliant, great, can break into that Cup 4 and give them a run for the money. But this season, if you said to me you're going to finish 8th or 9th and maybe a good run in the Euros, a good run in one of the Cups, but we have to accept that, we're not going to it's not going to be success after success after success every season.
Luke, you'll probably enjoy this. Last week I went on Chris's show. We were joined by another Leicester fan and the Saints fan who wears a fantastic Saints shirt. So you've definitely got to watch it for that. If you go to Chris's show on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die, we done an 11 and a manager of the sides outside the top 6, and it was a really good show, to be honest. So go and give that a watch.
It's under the playlist, the football show. There's a few playlists on there.
No, definitely, and subscribe as well. Chris is a top bloke as well. I really enjoy it. But Chris, obviously, you sort of mentioned you. I know you said, me personally, I think it is a dream. I can't see us winning it. Maybe if I speak to you in like January and February, and we're still up there. Do you reckon? Do you reckon we've got a chance? Do you reckon, I believe in them. I believe in this squad. I believe in David Moyes. That's what I believe in.
I went through that whole season and I was sat at work next to a Tottenham fan. It was an interesting year. And we both sat there all season going like, yeah, we're going to throw it. We're going to blow it. We'll do something. It's typical Leicester. We always shoot ourselves in the foot. And he's saying, it'd be Tottenham. We haven't won anything in years. We'll throw it away. And neither of us thought we were going to do it, And, up until... I probably thought we weren't going to do it longer than Claudio, and
because I remember talking of that game, the 2-2. Obviously, we were chasing the top 4. We're still chasing the top 4. We blew it away the last 2 games, and I was like, I really want to win this, but I don't want to because I don't want Tottenham to. Do you know what I mean? The draw was the fair result in that game for both of us, to be honest.
It was with a bad referee that day.
I know, Fat Moss.
Yeah, she decided to send Jamie Vardy off for what was a blatant penalty. But no, I'll give you the Vardy one because he does sometimes go down a little bit easy. So if it had been the other way round, and that's always the way I judge these things, if it had been the other way round, I would have been saying it wasn't a penalty. The problem is, after that, he'd booked one of our guys, Wes Morgan or Huth, for holding in the box, and then Robert Huth went up for a header.
We've done the same.
Yeah, held back by one of your guys. And I think John Moss went, no, nothing. And I think, to be honest with you, he then realised he'd made a mistake.
And gave us
got that ball, and that was a more dubious shout than sending Vardy off. But when Schlupp got that ball and fell over, he gave a penalty. And I think that was him, because that Huth was a nailed-on penalty. Schlupp was nailed on, not a penalty for me. And I think that's why we got it, because he felt guilty about the Huth one.
Yeah, I remember Andy Carroll's interview, because obviously Andy Carroll was involved, and he was ripping into him bad, and I think he actually got fined for his comments because Jeff Shreves was in. But top of your head, Chris, obviously I think it's a dream, but where do you reckon West Ham's going to finish this season, realistically?
Realistically, I've said at the start that it would be the top 4 were all sorted. I think, at the start of the season, you would have looked at that and went, yeah, that's the top 4 sorted. But Man United, if Ollie's at the wheel, he's certainly not got a sat-nav. So I think that 4th position is up for grabs. Chelsea, I think, and we've got them next, but I do think, I said they're going to win it, and I've seen nothing to convince me they won't.
Only 3 goals, I think, they've only conceded so far. Or something stupid.
Yeah,
I think
it's scary what they. I think had Tuchel been with them, not just half a season. When he took over from Lampard, they'd have done better that season. But I think you will finish 4th.
Excellent.
Simply because the other three are so much stronger, if you like.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think,
I think our next 4 games. So we've got Wolves away on Saturday. We've got Man City away, and then Brighton at home, and then Chelsea at home. That's our next 4.
a tough run. It's a funny season because I thought we had an easy run to the start of the season, and it's proven that it's not. There's no reason why you can't beat Wolves and Brighton.
Do you know? Shall I tell you a fact? We've never beat Brighton in the Premier League.
Really? Well,
Yeah,
I think this could be the season.
yeah.
I don't buy into the Graham Potter is wonderful and he's a future England manager shit at the moment. Come back in
I
a
know.
couple of seasons when he's done something. But you should get. I think you should. There's no reason why you shouldn't win those two, and just whatever you can get out of the other two. To be honest with you, but we know Man City are beatable. You know, you
Palace
could
done him.
get a draw at Man City. I think looking at that, 7 points possibly there for you.
And I think that would be good enough. I think that would be good enough to still
I think
stay
you'd
in
take
there.
that,
About
wouldn't you? You
yeah,
know.
no,
But
definitely.
the thing is, I really, if it's not going to be Leicester, it's going to be. I want it to be another club outside the top 6 to have a good season. And the way things are shaping up at the moment, it's looking like it's going to be you. And if it is, great lads, go for it. You never know. You know, if you'd spoken to me after 11 games, I'd have never said we're going to win it with a ball.
Of
But you
course.
just never know. There's been some strange results this season. You know, there's been more managers sacked this season than for the
It's
already than the
half the
whole.
Premier. It's nearly half the Premier League now,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's ridiculous. It is, but that's football these days for you.
I'll tell you
And
what we'll do, Chris. So we're about a third of the way through. We'll do 3 reviews. So we'll do one in what's that 25 games. We'll do another
yeah,
review, and then we'll
yeah.
do one at the end of the year. Not comparing, but just like a catch up, and we'll see how they're both getting on
No,
and
we can
stuff like that.
do that. We can do that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, no.
but yeah, I mean, even on that season though, I mean, you had was it Bilic was your manager then? I think wasn't he?
Yeah. Last year at Upton Park, that was.
Yeah, and you had a good season. You
Yeah.
were unlucky, but again, I think because of what we did,
But can you
everybody else
imagine it? Can
basically
you imagine
forgot it.
that if West Ham and Leicester both finished in the top 4 that year? That would have been
Oh,
no, no.
first and second,
Yeah,
Sam was that.
I know,
Yeah,
it would have been. But
yeah,
no,
it would have
Chris,
been amazing.
I put it up there anyway for thingy. But I would
Yeah,
get like I've done. I've put the description in the video anyway. But
cheers,
like
mate.
I've done on yours, do you want to let people know who you are? I'm pretty sure they know who you are now.
Yeah,
But
it's Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube, at Leicester TID on Twitter. Give us a follow. We obviously, a lot of the shows we are a little bit biased towards Leicester, of course we are, but we do a lot of we have a prediction show every Wednesday at 9. We've got an ex-player on that. On Tuesdays at 9, we have an ex on the pitch, and we just talk about general things. So, like I say, tomorrow we're going to be talking about World Cup qualifiers and, like I said before, how shit the Scottish division is.
no, definitely.
But yeah, everybody's welcome. We welcome a lot of non-Leicester fans into the chat.
Yeah, I've appeared a couple of times. I appeared at the
yes,
start, didn't I?
you
At the
did. You
start.
did. Yes, even when you beat us, we had you on.
I know you hated it. You hated me being on because you thought it might have been a defeat. But no. Honestly, thing aside, Chris, like you said, when we don't play each other, I wish Leicester well, and I'm guessing you wish West Ham well, and we will have.
I do hope you get that top 4. I really do.
No, I appreciate your time, Chris, and like you said, I'll probably speak to you. I'll speak to you every now and again on Twitter anyway.
Yeah.
But like you said, we'll do the 25 game review, and then we'll do the last 13 games, and hopefully we're both still in Europa and both fighting well in the league. But
well, hopefully go and I hope your club will go and question this decision about the Europa
I think we
League.
can appeal it. I've seen a couple of tweets. I'm not going to lie. I got distracted for 30 seconds when you were talking about a player just to see, but I think we can appeal it. But touch wood we do. And
but to do it this soon, when your players have got, your fans have got tickets and they made travel arrangements.
It's next week, Chris. It's not like it's a month's time. It's next week. Do you know what?
Exactly. make it, if you said like, if you get through your first game in the next round, or if they, and you will get through, there's no doubt about that, or, if you don't next season, I would understand that. But there's all this, it's punishing the fans. And as I would say, if that was Man United, if that was Man City, would UEFA have done that to them? No.
No, I don't think so, mate, either.
No.
I don't think so either. But no, Chris, I really appreciate your time, mate. And like you said, we'll wish each other luck and we'll have a catch up soon. Thanks to everyone in the chat. It's been really good. And yeah, like I said, take care and I will speak to everyone soon. Take care, everyone.
Mate. Got to go.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.